Good evening, guys. Stay Weird 1993 here, or of course, if you follow me on YouTube, it's Stay Weird 1993 Vlogs, and welcome back. So, streaming's been a bit all over the show this week. I have just put a rota in place for what I intend to do, which will be Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and either Saturday or Sunday. But due to V-Day and me, basically, to be totally honest, getting too drunk to stream on V-Day, I did not do that, so it's messed my entire rota up. So I'm just doing a few streams, and then from next week, so from tomorrow, we're going to start the itinerary of Monday, Wednesday, and so on, just to make sure that the stream schedule will be published when it's finalised. However, I want to make sure that I'm being clear. I'm not saying I'm going to stop streaming, it just means that I'm going to stream less when I'm working from home to spend more time with my kids, which is fine. So, we got a bottle of Trooper. And we got our Paladin here. So, if you remember, last night we got our heritage armor.
I've trained my whole
and we got
life for
Kultiras. So this is Talia.
Don't worry about the prison break.
Talia.
Here in the market, you're just another traveller. Now let's get you settled in.
Ferry dock visited. Okay, so we're going to go to the dock.
This ferry connects to stations all along the Sound's interior coast. You'll need a ferry pass from the harbour master. That won't be a problem.
I genuinely don't remember doing this because it's been that long since I did anything Alliance related. So the Trains Wind Counting House. I believe that's up here. I remember how much I love Borealis as well. It's just this whole area is Borealis Harbour. It's such a pretty zone. They've done such a good job of making this place look nice.
The counting house is under heavy guard, day and night. Feel free to store your valuables here.
Good day to you. See you later.
Okay. The Snug Harbour Inn. Ah, this will be our... What the hell? Hang on. Ah! Oh yeah, well this is obviously the main hub.
How may I be of service?
Oh yeah, I remember this now.
I foresee a mutually beneficial transaction.
Oh yeah, because this is where the transmog dudes are, yeah, okay. I remember now. And the Harbour Inn, yeah. I love
the market hosts travellers from all over
I love what they did
Azeroth.
with this place. They made it
There
look
are
so
many
nice.
taverns, but this one's my favourite. I spend a lot of time in here, pestering travellers to tell me their stories, especially folks from the Eastern Kingdoms.
Why the Eastern Kingdoms specifically? Is it because you're a four-dragon? Spoilers, let's have a look here.
Arcanon Poros.
These Kultirans have interesting beer, says Andigo. Much more flavorful than what I've found in Mainland. They're truly dedicated to their craft. Cool.
Safe
I love
journey.
flavour text like this. So this is a
Each
Draenei,
day is a blessing.
and this is a Paladin, I would assume, based on his gear.
Be well.
So that's interesting. Just interesting to take note of the fact they have put NPCs in here. So they've got Archmages, we've got some mages over here, we've got a Paladin chilling out over here. You know, they've made it feel alive, and that's what I like about these zones that they did. One thing that they did so well in BFA is they made the zones feel alive with NPCs and stuff. Now, I love that. I'm all for... I would much rather them spend more time making it somewhere feel alive than have it be really pretty and dead. I like the idea that what they've done is they've made it feel like a bustling harbour. They've made it feel like you are actually in a harbour. It's not just a player hub. They've made it feel like there are deckhands going and hoisting. There's people drinking at the bar. There's a hearth and a lit fire.
Newborn's goods here, mate. Stop by any time.
Why does he sound like he's from Norwich? It's great. This just reminds me of spending a lot of my childhood holidays in Whitby, which is, you may know, is where Dracula was written about, based on the area. Transylvania, but all the UK areas, most of it was Whitby. And this reminds me of Whitby. It very much does. Flight Master has to be, because we've got to visit the Flight Master.
There's my girl. You must be
Lord
restless
Admiral's
being
favour,
kept up here all
friend.
day. Believe me, I know the feeling. We'll fly soon, all right? Beautiful, isn't she? Cyrus gave her to me when she was just a hatchling. How can I help?
So now I've got to meet with Cyrus.
Serve with honour. You'll feel at home here in no time. Now, let's check in with Cyrus.
Okay. So I think I know roughly who. Oh, God, it's so tricky. See who got online. So. I always check who's online. So I think, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't. The Harbour Master's office. It's like down here, but not down here. Yeah, I clearly remember this wrong. You can tell it's been a while. It's down here, isn't it? The Harbour Master. That's it there, I think.
Come on. The Harbour Master's office is just through here. Wait. What's going on?
Oh.
Stand down! Don't you know who that is?
But sir, Lady Ashvane ordered...
Lady Ashvane. Do you serve Lady Ashvane? Is that Lady Ashvane's crest upon your shield?
No, sir.
No. You serve Colteris. You wear the crest of Proudmoore. And you take your orders from me. Now stand down and let them pass. We shall parley in my office.
Aye, sir. Let them through.
Okay, yeah, so obviously there is hostility between the factions.
Keep.
Because at this point they're still having some hostilities between, obviously, Kultiras as a nation.
Delia, prepare a full
Jaina.
briefing for our guests.
Aye, sir.
Blood or gold, everything has a cost.
So these are all the important characters.
Hail, champion. Stand strong, hero.
Sound off. For the Lord Admiral.
Catherine Proudmoore turned us away and had her own daughter cast out as a traitor. Why would you help us?
Humor an old knight for a moment, would you? I was in a battle many years ago. It was the Second War. Tough to keep them all straight. An Orcish juggernaut struck our transport. Splinters from the gunwale ripped across the deck and tore into a friend of mine. Should have been his ticket home, but he was or the war was won. So he patched himself up and told the healers he was fine. A few days later, he woke up screaming and drenched in sweat. Infection had eaten away at his insides. My friend never saw another sunrise. By the time he asked for help, it was too late. Colteris still bears the scars of the Third War. No one feels this more deeply than Catherine Proudmoore. But she is misguided. Her advisors have kept her blind to the infection that is spread throughout our kingdom. The land I love is falling apart, so I'm asking for your help.
Okay.
Kulteris needs the Alliance just as badly as you need us.
I see. Then we shall prove to Catherine Proudmoore the same truth that I learned at great cost. In unity, there is strength.
What's the situation?
Sick. And it's just a heads up. Thank you for the most recent follow. And our most recent follow is, let me just pull up my info on my dashboard here. I will pull that up. It is Bash 3007. So thank you to Bash 3007. And it's so that means we've got 17 followers. So, okay. So let's continue with what we're doing. Sanctum of the Sagas.
Duty calls.
Sanctum of the Sages.
Well met.
Let's see. And speak with Cyrus Crestfall and receive the ferry pass.
Fair winds and following seas.
Gib. Okay, I got my ferry pass. Cool. Get told. So, will I always stay weird? Someone says in guild chat. It's like, yeah. I've been weird since day one. Speak with the 7th Legion Magus. I'll tell you what's really nice though, like the fact that I've come back to this. I've come back to Azure Mist. I've come back to this server, and I'm back in the guild that I was in back in Vanilla and TBC. Well, end of Vanilla, start of TBC, and then going into Wrath. So these were the guilds that... This is the guild, Blackland Skirmishers on Azure Mist. This is the guild that got me to enjoy the game. These are the guilds that took me through my first dungeons, my first raids, taught me how to gear, taught me everything I know about the game. So it's really nice to come back and play in that group, even if there's people in here that I don't recognise, but there are still those old familiar people that I did raid with. Especially during the ICC days where, on Exeldon, which was my main, I used to raid as their tank. So it's really nice to come back and feel that reciprocation that I belong there. So, anyway, I'll stop being sentimental, but you get the point. So, we got to go and speak with the Magus. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to pronounce that word. 7th Legion Magi Boy. Which way am I going? Okay. Up there, I presume. Just adjust this here. I always forget I have this there's this pillow on my gaming chair that means that it's got really good lumbar support is the correct word. But back support, let's be honest, that's what it is. And as an aging person now, I say aging. I'm 26. I'm starting to get back pain. I've always had back pain anyway. Might be because I'm a chubby boy, but there you go.
You need something? See you around.
Oh yeah, so they're invoking like portals and stuff now. So we got Ironforge, Exodar, Stormwind. Yeah, okay, cool. So it's like establish your base basically, but we don't talk about garrisons anymore.
Situation report is ready.
Excellent. Hero, Talia will get you up to speed.
Together we can unify Kultiras.
I'm hoping we see Talia in Shadowlands, given that Bolvar's back and Bolvar's more involved. I hope we get to see her in Shadowlands, because obviously it's her dad. Spoiler. If you've not played this game and you don't know it's her dad by now, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Must be unified before it can be any help.
Farewell, friend.
Okay, cool.
Kultiras is made up of several major houses. They were unified under Balin Proudmoore's leadership, but that gradually changed after his defeat. Admiral Catherine Proudmoore now rules in his place, commanding both the military and the guard.
Yeah, so we're talking
Despite
about the
our
Proudmoores
efforts to maintain order,
So obviously,
Kultiras has seen an increase
Jane is
in
back.
crime, corruption, and piracy. People are losing faith in the Proudmoore Admiralty. To the west lies Jostvar, a mountainous region providing most of the kingdom's ore, and some of our toughest warriors. House Waycrest has been a loyal supporter of Proudmoore's rule for centuries, but their recent absence from council meetings has given rise to troubling rumours.
Oh, we got a follower.
In Stormsong Valley, to the north, the Tide Sages of House Stormsong craft and bless the ships of our legendary fleet.
Let's find out who that is.
But nobody's heard from
Some-
the fleet in months. The Tide
Oh,
Sages have
Gosling.
withdrawn into their cloisters and
Thanks for the
seem
follow.
uninterested in finding our missing ships.
So that puts us at 18 followers. Nice.
We must unite the houses beneath the Proudmoore banner and locate the missing fleet. Otherwise, Kultiras could fall apart before this
So
war
thank you
even
for the
begins.
follow. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so now we've got that, so now to find the scouting map. Let's have a look. Scouting maps. Oh, I'm an idiot, it's on the wall. Let's see. Stormsong Valley, Drustvar, Tirigard Sound. I'm gonna go Drustvar. I love Drustvar. We're doing Drustvar. Offer to make contact with House Waycrest. Yeah, okay. I think
I've always dreamed of adventure.
I agree that it's just speaking.
Come back with
so we've
stories.
got yeah, it is a soothing to listen to somebody while playing WoW. I think, yeah, it's definitely because I think it feels like
Finally,
you're playing the
some
game
action.
more directly with somebody when you do that. It's definitely and it's so it's great because what it is that I enjoy. If people are wondering who I'm talking to, one of my guildies has just followed me, so just a bit of a history. Obviously,
You have my
this guild.
attention.
I've only just come back to this server, well, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and I used to be in Blackland Skirmishes all the way back in Burning Crusade and Wrath, and I left this server to go play Horde with my friends back in Warlords of Draenor. But they all stopped playing the game, and then I realised that the reason I was burning out on this game is that I missed my old guild, and I missed my old server, missed all the people I used to hang out with in-game. So it's just nice to, even though obviously there's a few new faces, and I don't know everybody, it is nice to come back to the place where I learnt to play the game in terms of server. And, you know, the people who were there from the beginning, it's a nice feeling.
The Horde will
And obviously
fall.
because Lightforged Draenei are awesome, and
Light
I
be
finally
with you.
unlocked them after
As one of the Alliance's greatest heroes,
shamefully
you will
long
play
time.
a crucial role in achieving victory in this war.
So gather
Our
the
work
Horde
has just
must not
begun.
succeed in their goal of aligning with the Zandalari. To aid your efforts, you will have the full support of the Alliance's finest soldiers, the 7th Legion, under the leadership of High Commander Halford Wormbane.
An honor to work with you, champion.
For those situations that require a more subtle approach, Master Matthias Shaw and his SI-7 operatives are at your disposal.
Champion?
My duties demand that I return to Stormwind, but I look forward to hearing of your progress. I am confident that this campaign is in the right hands.
I still think
Good
that when
luck
the
to you
humans
all.
finally get their heritage armor,
Safe
it should
travels,
basically look like
my
Anduin's
king.
armor.
Light be with you, King Rin.
It should 100% just basically be this. Maybe a little toned down because obviously
Well
he's
then,
the king, but you
no
know.
time like the present to get underway. We have an operative ready to undertake an important mission.
Okie dokie. When we do this, we'll do Nazmir. So we'll select Nazmir already. So we'll
Your
do.
legend grows. By the light, the
So
first strike
when
belongs
we
to
come
us.
to do war campaign, we'll do Nazmir.
I need to
because,
target
again,
something
that's my
first.
favourite zone on the Horde continent. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our Drustvar campaign. I like Drustvar because, much like me, it's very spooky. And the fact it has witches and a very Van Helsing aesthetic, you can tell I'm definitely going to go to Revendreth and Shadowlands. My favourite novel was Dracula. What do you expect from me? Yeah, weird, not spooky, I guess. But I like the Drust and the whole Thros thing and the how they've kind of gone with this kind of almost Wicker Man pagan like strange elements to everything that's going on. I think they were really creative.
What
and
can
I
I
think,
do for you?
and I think that
Safe
Drustvar was.
passage to you.
I think that Drustvar was a really good culmination of a vision for a
Head
zone
in the Dross
that was.
bar, eh? You're lucky you got me, skipper, in this boat. Most of the ferrymen won't dock there anymore. What with all the dark rumours about.
That just sounds like everybody I work with. I like Coltiris because it makes me feel at home. I'm from Yorkshire. I don't sound like I'm from Yorkshire because I'm from a Scottish family. But I live in Yorkshire, so basically hearing a lot of English accents that are sometimes hard to understand makes me feel at home. It's like playing World of Warcraft actually in Sheffield, where I live.
Wasn't long ago that traders were frequent this ferry.
Get off my
looking
land.
to secure goods from the farmers and the miners there. Lately, though, these mines seem to have dried up, and the butchers are nowhere to be found.
Okay. Oh yeah. I know that the guild I'm in, there's a lot of that as well. So it's yeah, because I mean, I say I've been in this guild. So I've been in this guild
I'm not
on my first
superstitious
character.
like most cool
We're
Terrans,
talking
but even I have to
2008, 2009. I joined this guild, and then I left and
gives
came back.
me the willies. Whatever your business is there, I recommend you get it done quick.
Oh, it trust for it gives them the wellies. It does. Gives me the willies. I went there for some jacket taters and never came back. Basically, he sounds like Hagrid. If you've watched Harry Potter, he literally sounds like Hagrid. I need to shave the sides of my head, seriously. I can't even see the tattoos on my head anymore. I didn't get my head tattooed to not be able to see them.
We'll be putting down a little further. Carver's Arbor isn't a friendly
A
port
mix
these days.
between Hagrid and
Last time
Krusty
we
the
tried to drop anchor there, a wolf nearly took my leg.
I can't unhear that. That's incredible. It's like, I think is what I like about Cold Terrace is they did capture slightly different English culture in terms of like different accents. So they have like the West Country
There we
accent.
go. This
They
is
have
the
the very
furthest I'll
traditional
take you.
Cockney,
Best of
like
luck,
the Worgen.
Mainlander. If you have gods, you better out there with you here.
I'm a Draenei. We don't have gods. We have magic wind chimes. Let's see. So, meet with Cyril White. Okay, I love this zone. I just love the atmosphere here. This is such a gorgeous zone. I gush about stuff like this because I'm an artist. Like, so I do graphic design. So I look at stuff like this and just think, my God, like, you know, especially when there's atmosphere, like they've evoked what they've created here evokes feelings, like, you know, it evokes the right mysterious, creepy Blair Witch kind of pagan Wicker Man. It's got that whole vibe to it of spooky, old world, old religion, sort of that kind of thing. They've really done a really good job of this. Where am I going? Oh, it's up. So I'm guessing it's through here. Oh yeah, and these are the... Because this is when we first encountered this. Harry Potter, almost. I get a mixture between kind of Harry Potter, the Blair Witch Project, the Wicker Man, and I think just because it's like, yeah, the Dark Forest, yeah, definitely, yeah. I think that it really gives off the correct vibe of it's kind of creepy woodland, there's, you know, cursed land kind of aesthetic, and they've done a really good job with that. I think they've done an excellent job at capturing the spirit of... And the thing is, people are very quick to slander BFA. They're very quick to say that that this is a bad expansion. They're very quick to say that it's not enjoyable, or that they've failed to do things. And I think, well, BFA had some of the best, controversial topic, I suppose, but best storytelling. I think it had some of the best environment design. I think it had some of the most interesting stuff that they've implemented into the game. And when I say that, I mean stuff like this. I mean, this is new lore. This is new lore. This isn't... They're not going off, oh, well, we kind of have this. It's like, no, Thros and Drust, the Drust, that was all new. Like, they had to create that from scratch rather than just pulling on old threads. Oh yeah, we're in the sort of the Cursed Village. This is where I get this sort of Wicker Man, Blair Witch kind of vibe from. I've got a Death Knight hanging out here. And Cyril White's been frozen. And yes, this big wicker idol, the cursed effigy. Very witchcraft, yeah.
I must get closer.
The effigy is protected by powerful magics. I think that's why most people are against BFA. Yeah, I think... Don't get me wrong, in places I'm dissatisfied with the storyline. I think that more could have been done. But the main story threads, I think they were going in the right direction. I mean, there's this whole thing with people saying Sylvanas is playing 3D chess. It's like, I actually like what they've done with Sylvanas. I just don't think it's very well executed in places.
Due to several recent disappearances, a new curfew will be strictly enforced in Fallhaven. For your protection, all villagers are expected to retire to their homes no later than sundown.
Yeah,
in addition,
well, the Lich King,
we have received
reports
of dangerous creatures in the foothills. Anyone with
think,
business
sure,
outside
what
the town
they've done with
limits is
Shadowlands.
urged to use caution.
Okay, so...
Please report any suspicious persons or activity to Mayor White at once.
Thanks, Cyril. Right, so, no, the Lich King, yeah, sure. I mean,
Dearest husband, I don't know who you think you're
so they've broken the Helm of Domination.
Into the foothills while you think I'm asleep.
But that gives us a way into Shadowlands.
Whatever it is
now,
you're up to, it better
I'm not
involve
against
that
them
crazy
doing
woman
this
in the woods.
as long as there's a good reason
She's
for
a
it.
dangerous one.
Now,
But
we
not
know that
half
the
as dangerous as
Nathrazim...
I'll be if I find out you're up to no good.
You know, they got the helm from the Shadowlands as they got Frostmourne. So, my question is, are we going to have to reforge something like that to seal the Shadowlands back off? Are we going to have to reinstill Bolvar as a Lich King? Or somebody else? Is Talia, Fordragon, going to get involved? Is Kalia Menethil going to be involved? I'm glad that Bolvar's still alive. Because I think he's going to be a great custodian for the Shadowlands. Like, he's going to be our Khadgar, effectively. And it's... I'm hoping that we see a lot of... I'm hoping that we get to see a lot more lore around the Jailer and the Lich King, and I want to see why they're so linked. So that's what is intrinsic. That's just like real life. I go outside and I get attacked by birds. But it's I want to see where they're going with it. The Lich King is my favourite lore character, maybe aside from Vindicator Murad and Prophet Bella. Bolvar versus Arthas. Now, yeah, hell yeah, definitely. But speaking of hell yeah, I'd like to see what happens with Helya because of Legion. We know Helya resides in her own part of the Shadowlands, and Sylvana struck a bargain with her. I want to see what happens with her. I want to see Arthas, but like Blizzard have said, they won't cheapen Arthas by just bringing him back because. Like, they won't bring Arthas back just because he must be in the Shadowlands. Like, they don't want to just bring him back for the whole, oh look, he's here, guys. Like, because they want it to mean something if they bring him back. And I think what that means is they're not against the idea of Arthas coming back, or maybe they've already planned it, but they want to be careful with it because they know Arthas is like such a pivotal character to the Warcraft universe, and they don't want to screw it up. And I can respect that. I can really respect that. I'd like to see Bolvar versus. I'd like to see, well, maybe not fight each other, but like, what would they say to one another? Like, what would they say to one another if they encounter each other in the Shadowlands? Like, I want to see that interaction. I want to see, of course, as well how in Revendreth there's some very interesting stuff about the light. They didn't say specifically we would encounter Arthas in the Maw, but
I don't know where these blasted
if he's anywhere, he's in the Maw. Let's be honest.
Returned each morning for a fortnight now. At this rate, we'll run out of feed for the pigs
the
in a
law and how it
month's time.
continues for the Death Knights.
What
Well, yeah,
curse
like,
has
well,
befallen this
so we
place?
know that the Allied races,
I bet my last torch
they
it
made
has
a deal.
something to do with that old crew.
Bolvar basically invited them to come back because Sylvanas has upset the balance and this needs to be corrected. So people are saying, oh, well, it doesn't make sense to have Dark Iron Death Knights and Lightforged Death Knights. It's like, no, it does. Because what Bolvar's saying is your soul's going to go to the Maw, or you can come back and not go to the Maw, because everyone's going to the Maw.
I do not have a target.
And that's part of the reason that the Machinery of Death is broken. So even from a lore perspective, yeah, I play Lightforged. I'm a massive fan of the Draenei. Even as a Lightforged Draenei, I think I would take coming back as undead, an undead abomination, over being trapped in the Maw for eternity wrongfully. And I want to know why the Jailer needs power. What's happening? Why is this happening? Why is the Machinery of Death broken? Why is Sylvanas siding with the Jailer? Why is she helping him? Why is, again, alpha spoilers, Side of Narius? Why is Side of Narius helping the Jailer siphon off Anima? And on top of that, I enjoy the theory. I'm a big fan of Taliesin and Evertel. And the theory that Side of Narius might actually be a Nathrazim. Not because he's a Dreadlord for the meme, but because he looks like a Nathrazim if you really think about it. And obviously the Nathrazim are described as vampiric, and the Ventia are vampiric. But what I was going to say about the lore of what's happening with the light. So in Revendreth, we've seen a part of, it's like the Scorched Lands or something like the Blighted Lands or something it's called. What's happening is the light is permeating into the Shadowlands and is burning Revendreth. It's like searing it away. And there's these kind of messed up creatures that have been sort of mutated by the light in Revendreth. I want to know why the light's trying to get into Revendreth and what it wants with Revendreth specifically. Is it because that's where the anima's been siphoned with, Side of Narius? Or do they want something else from Revendreth? And why is the light not really represented in the Shadowlands? Bastion is order and law. Hence why, spoilers again, like Uther's there. But who else is there? Is Varian there? I think Varian should be in Maldraxxus.
Dear Foreman Stolton, I apologise for the delay in the latest butchery shipment. I was given some plant scraps by a kindly old woman down the way for my pig feed, but I'm afraid it may have been tainted.
See, I'm a big fan of Paladins and Death
My
Knights.
swine
I want
have
more
become
Death Knight
afflicted
lore.
with a malady that makes them
But I also want more
unusually
Paladin
aggressive.
lore in terms of Uther
It
the
has
Lightbringer
been
is in Bastion, and
difficult
what does that mean?
to corral
What's
them
that-
for
what's the
transport.
implication?
I will attempt another
We
shipment.
know that
by
Alexandros
week's end.
Mograine is also in Maladraxxus, and Draka too. And Kael'thas Sunstrider's in Revendreth. But I want to know who else we're going to see. I mean, we know Vol'jin's going to be involved, and the reason we know Vol'jin's going to be involved is simply because, of course, there was such a heavy lore focus on Vol'jin in BFA. I think Shadowlands will be very interesting lore-wise. Did you see the new possible allied races? I did, yeah. I'm totally behind the idea of Rykul. And I would definitely love to play as Venthia. I would swap my allied race Death Knight to a Venthia Blood Death Knight in a heartbeat. I definitely would be interested in playing like a Fury Warrior of Rykul. Of course, we don't know yet, but I think that you've got the possibility of these allied races and how they're going to come in. But if they're making allied races for Shadowlands, you've got to give the Venthia. You've got to give the Venthia. You've got to give the Fae, the Fawn. Sorry, from Ardenweald. You've got to give some of the creatures like the Warlordy-like creatures from Maldraxxus and the Kyrian. Hell, the Kyrian would be cool. Like a Kyrian Paladin. I mean, I would not stick away from Draenei, Lightforged Draenei, but the Kyrian would be interesting, I think, as a race. But my question from a lore perspective is, what would the immortal races Nathrazim are? If we have the customization to make them lightbound, like Lothraxian, that'd be cool.
Lord Admiral's favour, friend.
I'm looking
Safe
forward to the new
passage to you.
customization that's coming as well. I think that's going to be really cool. A race I'd like to see finally come into the fray is the Sand Lane. I mean, I'm sure they're undead blood elves, but the Sand Lane are like their own faction. They're their own thing. And I think the Sand Lane would be a really interesting addition to the Horde, specifically. But then, in terms of the Alliance, I'd like to see the Vrykul. For the Alliance, I think Vrykul, Tuskar, and the Kyrian. Maybe the Fawn. For the Horde, the Venthia, the Necrolords, and potentially I don't know, like Hosen. I mean, I wouldn't play a Hosen, but it'd be kind of cool. I'd like to see Manari as well. I'd like to see Draenei get Demon Hunters, and I'd like to see you be able to play yeah, for the Horde, no more cute allied races. No more Uwu. No Uwu, please. We've already got enough Uwu with the Volpira. Disgusting. My buddy, who I've been playing WoW with for a while, he plays Horde still.
Insipid outsider!
Okay.
This village is mine! The mother has willed it! You should turn away now, lest you share their fate!
Hey, look, it's my old boss. I think the Horde need the Necrolords, the Venthia, maybe the Shadowlands allied races, though, because of their status as beings of the afterlife and of Death Realm. Maybe all the allied races from Shadowlands, if they're from the Shadowlands, should be neutral and should be able to pick a side. Because I feel like having forces of death side with a mortal faction is a bit illogical. If Venthia wanted to come to Azeroth and fight alongside the Forsaken, fine. If a Kyrian found that the Orcs' honor was interesting, great. Or if a Kyrian found that the kind of the human kingdom, or the Draenei, or the Lightforged were more to their liking, They should have the freedom to choose that, I think. But no more cutesy allied races. I don't like cutesy allied races. Like neutral, like Pandaren. Like the Pandaren. Like, so they can choose a side. Because their race is not from the mortal plane, I think it makes more sense for them to be neutral. It would be hard for me to explain to somebody why a Shadowlands... So for example, they can choose. So for example, a Venthia could be sided with the Alliance if it, for example, felt that the plight of the humans was better, or if they felt that the Forsaken was more to their liking. Because theoretically, I'd have a hard time splitting them, because yeah, sure, the Kyrian, drop them on the Alliance, they're literally angels, like the Valkyries, but that's cool. However, in doing so, you risk
I am out of range.
Cutting out the possibility of, say, maybe there are certain Kyrian out there who admire the Orcs' honor bound level of combat, so maybe they think that the Orcs have more honor. Why would they not side with that? In the same way that maybe the it's hard.
Foolish outsider! You dare challenge me? I will show you
Oh, you're approaching me.
Power!
Yeah, so I think more like the Pandaren.
Our power is ancient. You will fall.
And I think I think it just makes sense that if they're Shadowlands races, that they should be neutral, just because of where they stand in the lore.
Stop.
It's like,
My
I mean, sure, you look at other things like the Lightforged, they're functionally immortal, sure, so they're not exactly. But then so are the Draenei functionally. At the same time, you've got to consider the possibility that it's like the Lightforged were aligned with the Alliance simply because their brethren, the Draenei, were already sided with the Alliance. If the Lightforged had come in Legion and found that their faction had allied with the Horde, then the Lightforged should be on the Horde side. If there's a logical reason for someone to join a faction, that's fine. If, however, it's a bit ambiguous, especially with like the afterlife races, maybe that's trickier, and that's why I think they should be neutral. I'm just going to end this part for YouTube. I'm not cutting the stream. I'm just going to cut and paste the